All right, welcome back, everyone. I think I'm live. Let me know if it all works, if you can see me and you can hear me. But it's looking good. Okay. Let's just wait a couple of minutes. I'm still going through everything which I want to show. So... All right. For those of you who are here already, as you can tell from the title, there have been quite some developments in the chess world, and one of them being the Shevchenko case, which has made headlines a couple of days ago because of the alleged cheating case. Of course, nothing has been confirmed yet. This is the one thing, and the other thing is being the case about Christopher Yu, which we're gonna talk about afterwards. The incident which happened only yesterday in the U.S. Championship. It's all pretty crazy, especially that those two things happened like in a matter only of a couple of days. So yeah, let's jump right into it. For those of you who missed it, the Shevchenko case, it happened in the Spanish Team Chess Championship, which I think has just finished, or it's even still ongoing. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't followed the games of that event. But anyway, Kirill Shevchenko, who is a Romanian grandmaster, born in Ukraine and has represented Ukraine for most of his life. But I think like 2 years ago he changed federations to Romania, and since then he's representing Romania, and yeah. And then this peculiar case, I will just go through this article which we have in front of us now afterwards. Happened, and a mobile phone was found in the bathroom of the playing area, and then later on there was some evidence collected that people started to suspect Kirill Shevchenko. About him personally, I've played Kirill a couple of times. We are basically the same age. We're both born in 2002, so we met a couple of times in certain youth events, and we played, I think, 2 classical games against each other, if I'm not totally wrong. One of them was in the Biel Open in, I think it was 2016, 2017, probably 2017. So it's been already some time. Hi everyone, by the way, who joined the stream. Let me see. I will add one person I trust as a moderator. One second. All right. We do have a moderator now, so that some of you will be managed in the comments. Last time there were some interesting comments, so this will hopefully not happen this time. Yeah, tonight is the stream, so I was already getting into it. About Shevchenko, I've just mentioned that we are basically the same age. We were both born in 2002, and yeah, we've played, I think, 2 games. One of them was in Biel, and the other one was, I think, in the European Individual Championship 2018, where I lost both games. He was always quite a lot stronger. Yeah, I made you the mod, so yeah, you have some responsibilities now. But yeah, anyway, we played a couple of times. I've always had I mean, we never really knew each other that well. We just greeted each other sometimes, so yeah, it was nothing more like this. But he always seemed to me like a respectable person as well, outside of being a very, very strong chess player. So all of this came like quite a huge shock for me, all of this. So let's just go through the article. Yeah, so 22-year-old Grandmaster Kirill Shevchenko has been expelled from the 2024 Spanish Team Championship with his draw against GM Bassem Amin, almost 2,700 player, by the way, from Egypt, in round 1, and win over Grandmaster Francisco Vallejo in round 2, who was also like a regular member of the 2,700 club. In round 2, turn into losses. So then later on, after the whole stuff, they changed his results to losses. When Shevchenko's regular absence from the board aroused suspicion, in round 2, a locked phone was found in the toilet, with arbiters claiming a link of the phone to Shevchenko based on handwriting and behavior. So I think the article later on goes into some of this stuff, which I think is also pretty interesting, because they were, let me see if they, I think they included in this article as well. So there were some notes next to the phone, which was really strange. The notes next to the phone were, first of all, I think they were written in Spanish. And okay, I don't know if, like, it would surprise me if Shevchenko knew Spanish, but okay, you could just translate it on the phone on Google Translator or something. But who gets to the idea to bring the phone to a playing hall to cheat, and then to just write a note with your own handwriting like next to it? So this is already a bit just unbelievable to me, first of all. But anyway, I think the translation of the message will be somewhere later, otherwise we'll find it in another article. The 2024 Spanish Team Championship Honor Division taking place in the North African Spanish city of Melilla, from October 12 to 18. So it's still ongoing. I guess tomorrow's the last round. And yeah, he's playing for this certain club. Yeah, what I was saying before, Shevchenko, who was born in Ukraine and has since switched to represent Romania, which was also the case for Rapot. Richard Rapot was, I mean, he was not from Ukraine, but from Hungary, but he also changed to Romania. I think also Alexander Motilev did. So there are a lot of things happening in Romania if it comes to sponsoring. And yeah, there's a lot of money there, especially because of the super bet. I think this stuff, they have a lot of money, and they are supporting chess pretty well from what I've heard. So Shevchenko is the world number 69 and became a grandmaster at the age of 14 years and 9 months. Pretty crazy. His greatest achievements include winning the 2021 European Team Chess Championship with Ukraine, as well as the individual. Yeah, that was also pretty crazy to win this Lindoras Abbey Blitz, since, if I'm not wrong, that was happening like as part of the Grand Swiss. For those of you who don't know, the Grand Swiss is basically like by far the strongest open tournament ever, where only 2,600 plus players can basically play. I think only top 100 players, so around 2,600 plus, apart from some wildcards, ahead of, yeah, as you can see, Fabiano Caruana and Arjun Erigaisi. So first of all, I want to make one thing clear. What I'm saying here is in no way any allegations or something. I just want to list all of the facts and also get a better view of what's happening. What I really want to say is that I'm 100% sure that Kirill Shevchenko is a very strong player. And yeah, I mean, if you win this tournament, Lindoras, Abbey, and Blitz, first of all, I don't think you can, for the people among you who might be very suspicious of him, I don't really think that you can, I mean, maybe you can, but in a Blitz tournament over the board to cheat, it's, for me, very hard to believe how it would be possible. And therefore, if you win such a tournament, it's already quite a sign of your playing strength. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, what's up, everyone? We are in the middle of the whole Shevchenko case. So welcome to everyone who just joined. And yeah, that was just what I was saying. Just to clarify, I think that Shevchenko is a very, very strong player, and I'm not making any allegations at all. I'm just listing the facts. That's basically it. Yeah, I saw the drama at the US Championship, and that's what we're gonna get into next. But first, I would like to go through the whole Shevchenko case. So, Chief Arbiter Oscar Bruno de Prada Rodriguez summarized his decision, firmly believing, and in light of the evidence gathered throughout the investigation, that this player has made use of the mobile phone during the game, in addition to ignoring my request to notify me when he left the room in breach of FIDE rules. I decided to impose the following sanction. Okay, so if the arbiter team is really that sure that he cheated, since they collected some evidence, it already means quite something, I think. So that's kind of a strange sign, at least, which means, I would say, quite a lot. But yeah, they did not come forward yet, I think, with any more evidence than is listed in this article. So I'm still not entirely sure what will be the full story of all of this. The other thing I wanted to say was, yeah, in addition to ignoring my request to notify me when he left the room, which I think is kind of a request which at least I have never heard of, that you have to notify the arbiter when you leave the playing hall. I never heard about it, but I guess it's reasonable. But I also talked to some other people who said that it's not really a realistic request, and that you shouldn't care about if the arbiter tells you something like this. If it would happen to me, I would just tell the arbiter. I personally don't think it's an issue. If someone is suspecting me of cheating, which I would never do, then I would just tell the arbiter, okay, I'm going outside of the playing area, and that's it. So it is a bit strange, in my opinion, not to tell the arbiter if the arbiter wishes to do so. You believe Kirill didn't cheat? Question from the chat. Honestly, I've no idea. I will say one thing again. I was extremely shocked when all of this came out, since I also played Kirill, and it was always clear to me, and it is still clear to me now, that he's an extremely strong player. And honestly, I just don't see the point why he would cheat. I mean, he's so strong himself. Like, he just doesn't need it. I mean, but yeah, I guess there are many factors to consider, like financial situation. Maybe you need the money. Maybe you want to beat some specific people and so on. But I just want to look at the evidence and just wait for more information. That's also one thing, because as nice as this article is, it still doesn't give us, at least in my opinion, that much information about the whole case. So the arbiter team decided to impose the following sanction: to forfeit the 2 games played in round 1 and round 2, based on article blah blah blah, which prohibits the use of mobile devices. So after they played the games, even though Shevchenko made 1.5 out of 2 in both of the games, so he made a draw against Amin Bassem, and he won against Francisco Vallejo Pons. The games have been annulled, so it has been declared that Shevchenko actually lost the games, which usually happens in those sorts of cases. To expel Kirill Shevchenko from the competition, of course, yeah, this is out of the question. If someone is heavily suspected of cheating, you should kick them out of the event. That's usually what happened. It also happened with Christopher Yu, which we'll get into later, but obviously for other reasons than cheating. A complete report with all the evidence will be submitted to the Technical Committee of Arbiters and the FIDE Ethics Committee. So yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever will come out there. I don't know if this will be made public. In general, one question from me is, like, what of these informations will go out to the public? Because often this stuff is kind of happening behind the scenes, and no one actually, at the end of the day, finds out what actually happened. Same with Hans Niemann. I think I'm sure there were some things happening behind the public eyes which never went out, and which probably also never will. for whatever reasons. Yeah, the decision explains that an investigation was sparked by Vallejo complaining to the arbiter that his round 2 opponent Shevchenko was spending too long away from the board. So yeah, happens pretty often that players feel like their opponent is behaving suspiciously for whatever reason, and then they tell the arbiter, and in most cases the arbiter will at least have somewhat of an eye on the person in question. Oh, thank you for the super chat. That's great. First super chat, by the way, which I can see now. So thank you so much. That's very nice of you. So yeah, back to the thing. Yeah, of course the Shevchenko then said that he needs to use the restroom more often for whatever reason, which of course it can happen. Yeah, like I don't think this is suspicious at all. Then this the arbiter reminded the player that it was necessary to ask permission to visit the toilet. Sounds a bit strange. Usually it isn't, but I guess the arbiter told him in his case it is necessary to ask for permission. But yeah, sounds pretty extreme to have to ask someone for permission to visit the toilet. I mean, it's kind of like in kindergarten, but okay. Located outside the playing hall in a common area with 2 cubicles and 3 urinals. Fantastic information. Okay, let's move on. The visits continued with the arbiter asking a member of the organizing committee to investigate. He saw Shevchenko visiting an individual cubicle and there found a new mobile with a handwritten note. Yeah, here it is, yeah. Something in Spanish. And now the translation. This is the best part. Don't touch, this telephone has been left so the owner can answer it at night. I still have no idea what this is like supposed to mean. So this is like very strange, yeah. So I think what will be later also clarified in the article that Shevchenko usually, I mean, he was the only person basically to use this certain restroom, which then makes it quite clear. But I'm not sure if this evidence is like fully clear yet. The phone was confiscated and the toilet ordered to be locked around 2.5 hours into the round, with the cleaner revealing that a similar phone had been found there the day before and left unclaimed. Another thing, so there were 2 phones in the whole game. The first phone, which was only found by the cleaning staff, as it seems, and then the second phone, which was found by the arbiters. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, and left unclaimed after it was handed into the reception, which kind of makes sense. Like you're not gonna volunteer to just say, yeah, it's my phone, I left it on the toilet and I was trying to cheat. Like no one is gonna say anything like this. The arbiters say that that other members of the organizing committee then observed as Shevchenko entered the bathroom, saw the toilet was closed, and waited for some time before leaving instead of using a free toilet. This happened more than once. So again, pretty strange stuff, yeah. I mean, from what we can read here, it looks, yeah, it just doesn't have a good look for him, honestly. After the round, the arbiters compared the handwritten note to Shevchenko's score sheets, and they found a similarity. Okay, time zone was was the same like Romania, yeah. I guess Romania is in many other time zones as well from other European countries, so that doesn't mean that much. But I think this whole paragraph was saying quite a lot. I mean, this is like the most suspicious thing, I would say. Handwriting, I don't know. I guess there are some experts out there that can say like a handwriting is like a full proof. I'm not sure about this. I guess many people can also have somewhat similar handwritings. But yeah, if there are many bathrooms which you can use and you're just waiting for one, which is which is occupied at the moment, then this is a bit a little bit suspicious. Let's put it like this. Yeah, next one. When challenged on the details with help from teammate Daniel Yufa, who lives in Spain and probably speaks Spanish fluently, and Russian, of course, since he's originally from Russia. Why he went to use a specific cubicle? Yeah, that is like the very suspicious thing. Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, there might be some reasons. I don't know. Maybe he thinks this one cubicle is his lucky toilet. Yeah, like whatever. There can be many reasons. But yeah, it just doesn't look very good for him. I have to agree. So yeah, Shevchenko denies everything in this thing here, in this statement. Russian artwork, yeah, that's true. But what I want to add here was that I don't think that Shevchenko made any public statement yet, which is, I think, a bit strange as well. Like, if I would be suspected of cheating in such a like public thing and everyone is talking about it, the first thing I would do is to make like a press release, basically, yeah. Like a big just to talk about it. Yeah, if I know I'm innocent, I will tell it. Yeah, like publicly. I will write on Instagram, on Twitter, on everywhere possible. Yeah. So that I think is a little bit strange. Yeah, not if you're innocent, then first thing I would do is just to speak out, basically. But yeah, again, there can be many reasons for not doing it. Maybe he wants to speak to his lawyers first, or yeah, again, could be many reasons. Arbiters note that 2 more complaints were received. Yeah, some people just thought that that Shevchenko's absences from the board were a bit too long. So yeah, that's what they were saying here. Yeah, this paragraph also, I think Kramnik tweeted about this. For me, I would say, so this is one of the grandmasters who was playing. One of the teammates of Amin Bassem, who played against Shevchenko. He said this: for me, I would say things started to get strange at move 6. He played his move and he left the playing hall for more than 10 minutes, and this was repeated many times in the next moves. I thought he had some stomach problems, but at some point I decided to go out to see where he is, and he was standing outside the toilet room, and when he saw me, he went back to the playing hall. And then at some point in the game, he stopped going out till the game was finished. Yeah, again, a little strange, but again, can be some reasons for that, but it is, again, a little bit suspicious, I would say. But what Kramnik, or I think what someone else said, I think it was on Twitter, that it is a little strange. Like, I'm sure like most people wouldn't cheat on, most reasonable people wouldn't cheat around move 6, yeah, because everything is still more or less well-known theory. Unless it's like an extreme case, which I don't think this game was, to be honest. So yeah, I find it hard to believe that someone would go out to cheat already as early as move 6. That's just my personal opinion. Asked how it affected him during the game, Armin commented that generally I try not to think about it too much, that someone is maybe cheating, because then you can't really play, but when it happened many times, it was really not good, especially that when he came back to the board, he would play very fast and really good. Fair point. Vallejo also submitted analysis of the game he lost to Shevchenko, though it's noteworthy that for much of the game, Shevchenko would not have had access to a phone. If he had been using a phone in the toilet, you can play through the 2 games. So I guess what they mean here is that at some point the phone was found, or the toilet was closed, so he didn't have access to the phone there. Yeah, let's let's go through the games. This was the first one which they drew. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, what Mr. Patel commented. How does it feel when young players like Hill and you do such things? Puts chess in such a bad light. Yeah, it does. But on the other hand, it does generate a lot of media attention. So that again is, I would say, in the general, in the whole picture, it's probably good for chess. I mean, even bad publicity is good publicity, as they say. But yeah, I would prefer it to be some more positive thing. That's for sure. To make headlines. So the games. Let's open it up here. So this was the first game, and I just want to go through it together and let's see what I have to say. So here, Kirill had the black pieces and Amin Bassem was white. By the way, this result, of course, is not accurate since the game did actually end in a draw, but later on it was declared that Amin Bassem won the game due to the whole incident. So, yeah, we have this Rosolimo line, which is pretty topical. Bishop takes e6, short castle being the other move. I did also have a game now in the Croatian Team Championship. If you are interested in the details of this line, make sure to check out the round 3 recap of that tournament. So yeah, this was all pretty standard theory. Knight h3, this is also one of the plans. And I just want to go briefly through it. f4, I was surprised to see a bit, but what else here? There is probably no way to... I guess queen f3 is too slow. Being able to take back, yeah, there's even g5 already. So, yeah, this was played, and just to go through everything, queen g4, apparently a mistake. Black played pretty logically. No time spent. Kirill played pretty fast as well. But I mean, Bassem defended very well, and at some point the advantage slipped, and it was a draw. Looks like a perfectly normal game to me personally. Let's look at round 2, where he won the game. Yeah, so this line of the Petrov, usually black players go d6 and only then take on e4, but this knight takes e4 always was like the kind of like the beginner's line. And everyone, at least when I was starting out with chess, I thought black will just lose after queen e2, because black cannot move the knight because of this discovered check when white is winning the queen. But queen e7, and it actually turns out that this line is not so bad for black. D takes e5, d takes e5, and knight c6, and black will win back the pawn on e5, since something like bishop f4 is too slow. There's g5. It looks like bishop d2 f5 is actually a nice trick when the bishop will get trapped and white cannot take because of queen e4. But yeah, this line is now more or less well known. Knight c3, take, bishop f4, and if white is accurate, he will keep some advantage. Bishop g3. This is still theory. It's like nothing out of the ordinary to play pretty fast here, I would say. I also checked this some time ago. And this is the position you can reach. I think there was also the same line was played in Wesley So against Hans Niemann like 2 days ago or one day ago only, which also ended in a draw. It was a bit different maybe. Yeah, it was a bit different. But it was the same line. You can check the game out later on. I think it was this, and Hans just took on e5. It was something like this. Yeah, this position you can reach when white is a little bit better, but black is pretty solid overall. So let's go further. Very logical moves from white. I mean, you go c3 because there's rook takes c2 is threatening. Now white wants to double rooks probably, and then the pawn on d6 will be weak, so black decides to sacrifice it right away and gets pretty good active play in return. And now we end up with this endgame, which is worse for black, but it should be in the realms of a draw. And the next moment here, this is all fine. It is a draw objectively, but I think this move f5 was already going into the wrong direction. Black should probably go something like bishop g8, bishop h7, and will probably make a draw pretty comfortably. f4 pretty strong. Played also pretty fast, but I guess you can find this, yeah. Like it's not that hard, because you can realize that if you take now, king has the move, then white will black will just exchange these pawns, and now with opposite color bishops it should be an easy draw. f4, I think any grandmaster could find. And now we reach this position, and here it's probably already at least very tricky to hold. And bishop c2 was the final mistake, I think, if I saw it correctly. Bishop a2 was somehow a draw, but again, not easy. Also, this does look very close, but black is probably in time to get around. But yeah, Paco Vallejo was already low on time. He went bishop c2, and for some reason this is then lost because black loses this tempo. That's actually pretty instructive, because black here can just walk back with the king right away, because the king cannot take on here. So yeah, and here after this the game was lost, because white is just promoting this pawn unless black gives the bishop. And here Vallejo resigns because white has the correct bishop, and therefore white will just slowly pick up the pawn on h3 and then will win the game. So again, this game looks nothing out of the ordinary for me. I mean, I wouldn't suspect anything at all here. My personal opinion, once again. Like Kirill made some inaccuracies, and yeah, there was a draw in reach for Paco Vallejo, so it doesn't look that suspicious to me. But yeah, it would be interesting to me what you think in the chat. Does this game look suspicious or not? I personally don't think so, but yeah, it would be interesting what you guys think. Yeah, it's really weird to cheat on that level. That's true, but as I said before, there might be some special things to consider, like financial situation or whatever. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to show. For me personally, the games don't look suspicious at all. After that, he was banned from the tournament, and the rest of the games he couldn't play anymore. All right, so that was the article. Now I want to go to the official press release from the Romanian Chess Federation, which I only saw before, but it's still pretty interesting what they have to say. So the Romanian Chess Federation has taken note of the accusations against Kirill Shevchenko, who is playing under Romanian flag at the latest edition of the Spanish Team Chess Championship. We have proven over time that we take all anti-cheating rules very seriously, and we will continue to do so. We have, and will have zero tolerance for violating the rules of fair play. However, such serious accusations must be supported by solid evidence, and so far only circumstantial evidence has appeared publicly. I kind of agree with that. The evidence is not like fully clear. Also, there was no proof of, or no pictures or so on shared with the public. So I do somewhat have to agree with this, but I guess the arbiters team does have this evidence, but just haven't went public with that, which we will, I guess, find out together if it will happen or not. We await the details of the case and will carefully study the accompanying evidence. At the moment, we only have information from the media, as do I, and alleged witnesses, but no official communications. Until then, we are on the side of our chess player who denies the accusations brought against him. We will support him as we do all our chess players within the limits of blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this I think is at least good from the Romanian Chess Federation. I think that every federation should stand behind their players. Yeah, I think this is kind of obvious. Yeah, and of course, if later on the evidence will be clear, and if, of course, if he did cheat, then they will, of course, will have their own punishment. Yeah, as it should be. If further information comes to light, we will decide within the federation what to do next. The official position of the Romanian Chess Federation in the case of Kirill Shevchenko. Yeah, they've acknowledged the accusations made against Kirill Shevchenko. But such serious accusation must necessarily be backed up by solid evidence. Yeah, I think this is the same. Yeah, basically. Okay, but still, I thought this was pretty interesting as well. Yeah, guys, what do you think about the games I showed you? Me as a 1400 player think that Vallejo got outplayed in the endgame. Yeah, I mean, he did miss this one crucial moment where he didn't go bishop a2, but it wasn't that obvious, of course, but it was not like Shevchenko played like insane moves. I would say, like it seemed to me it was basically a normal game. So that was just my opinion on this. So, unless there's something else you would like me to add, I'll make a short break now, just 1 minute, and let me know in the chat if I should go into some other things or if I missed something about the Shevchenko case, which you would like me to talk about. Let me know, and otherwise I would move on to the Christopher Yu case. But yeah, first let me know if you'd like me to go into some more details of the Shevchenko case. So I'll be back in 1 minute. All right. Let's see. Okay, so I don't see that there were more questions about the Shevchenko case, as far as I can tell. There is just one other question. Did you register for World Rapid and Blitz happening in the USA? Yeah, I'm actually playing there. The federation will have to register me, but yeah, I'm gonna play now. Next are the bookings. I've already booked the flights, but now the hotels, which are gonna be pretty expensive. So we're gonna see how this turns out. I even saw some other things before now. I mean, like the whole Twitter atmosphere in chess is just like a war room nowadays. Like everyone is fighting with everyone basically. On the one hand, you have Kramnik, who is like, yeah, I would say like fighting with everyone, or kind of, you know, having some disputes with some people. And now with FIDE, I think Georg Mayer put out a tweet. I can actually look it up now. Let's see, Georg Mayer, German Grandmaster. He tweeted about the hotels in the USA. Here. let's see how much one can really save using the FIDE special rate on the dates relevant for all but 8 players. On the first hotel I checked, nothing. 5 nights around $2,000. Yeah, it's New York. It's not a surprise, especially at those times. And then Emil Sutovsky replied something. I didn't really go through it yet, but you see some disputes basically everywhere. Did he own the phone? Yeah, that's a good question. Going back to Shevchenko. I mean, Shevchenko denied everything. So he denied using the phone, owning the phone, whatever. But I did also read something that he also denied going to the police station to get his fingerprints tested on the phone. If that's the case, the case would be somewhat clear to me. Because if you're innocent, the first thing you would do is to go to the police station and give your fingerprints, give your DNA, whatever it is, yeah, just to prove that you're innocent. So, but yeah, I only read this in some tweet, I think. So again, I have no idea how, if this is like true evidence whatsoever. Do you have to pay for the hotel for the World Open Blitz? I do get some support by the Austrian Federation, and they will probably pay at least most of it. So I'm pretty lucky when it comes to that. But most players, as far as I know, they have to pay everything for themselves. But yeah, World Rapid and Blitz are coming up in around 2 months. But for now, I would like to get into the Christopher Yu case, if you don't mind. As a Ukrainian, I'm just reading the chat. As a Ukrainian, after this happening, now I'm happy to switch to Romania. I feel bad for them having to deal with that. Yeah, I somewhat agree. Yeah, I mean, it's never nice for a federation to be in such a scrutiny like this, but yeah, they're gonna have a lot to deal with. That's for sure, the Romanian Federation. But okay, let's move on to the Christopher Yu case. So for those of you that know, the US Championships are currently ongoing, with Fabiano Caruana playing, with Wesley So playing, Lenia Dominguez, all of the superstars basically, except for Hikaru Nakamura, who is not participating. I just see another question, which is a good follow-up to the Shevchenko case. Again, I'm switching a bit, but I think it's pretty relevant to the case we discussed before. I don't think he would go to the police, as it does not seem to be a matter of something illegal being done. I'm not an expert. I guess according to the law, like I guess that cheating in chess is not included in like in any state laws or something, but still, like, even if it's not required by law, I mean, it's just what I would do. I mean, I'm 100% sure I would just go there and get my fingerprints. I mean, just test for my fingerprints. Of course, I understand some like privacy issues with that, but it would be more important for me to have my name cleared than to, yeah, to think about this in that certain case. Maybe it was, again, this was only what I read on Twitter, that something about police station and getting the fingerprints tested. So yeah, again, I have no idea how serious those tweets were and if this is actually true. I don't think the phone had anything on there, since someone asked. There was only this one detail that the time zone was the same as Romania, which in my opinion doesn't mean a lot, since I think that Romania is in the same time zone as most other European countries. So so yeah, but apart from that, I don't think that there was anything on the phone. Okay, that would also be like next level to have, like, to use your private phone or something for something like this. I don't think that that he would have done this. Okay, let's move back to the U case. If you have any follow-ups on Shevchenko, don't hesitate to say so. So US Championship is currently ongoing. Fabi playing, Wesley playing, Lenia Dominguez. Only Naka is missing. But other than that, the field is of course very strong. Sam Shankland is also there. Ray Robson, many very strong players. And yesterday, Christopher Yu. Hi Felix, I have no idea what's going on. So we are just discussing the latest chess drama. Before we went through the Kirill Shevchenko case, the alleged cheating case. If you want more info, just go back in the stream and check it out. Just to briefly sum it up, there was a Spanish team championship happening, and there was a phone found in the player's bathroom, and suspicions have been raised, and many people have went forward with these suspicions, with the name being called for Kirill Shevchenko, who also used this bathroom very often, and there was a note there with his handwriting. So again, many details, and yeah, now the investigation is ongoing. Grandmaster Vidit said in a live stream that even reading such news about a cheater completely changes the perception of the player in his eyes, even though they have met in real life. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's the other thing. I mean, also with Hans Niemann, of course, like everyone is thinking about him as a cheater or as a potential cheater, which I also don't think is a good thing. Yeah, this is just like the thing that will happen with your reputation if these allegations are put out, which of course, if it turns out to be wrong, as it was most likely with Hans Niemann as well, I think it's very unfair, because to get your name completely clean and that no one will suspect you of cheating anymore is, I think, close to impossible, because there will always be people that that will believe those allegations. So that's unfortunately the sad reality, that you will most likely not lose that reputation, even if it turns out to be wrong. But unless there is like real proof to that it will be clear that that you're not cheated, basically. But again, we will see how all of this turns out. So back to Christopher Yu. Yesterday, Christopher Yu, who is I think 17 years old and already rated around 2600, so for sure a chess prodigy, played against Fabiano Caruana with the white pieces. And as you can see by the kings being placed here, Fabiano won this game. And it was somewhat of an unfortunate loss for Christopher Yu, who was better throughout most of the game, but it was not entirely easy to convert, and later on he lost the game, which happened to many players of us. Sometimes you have a good position or even a winning position, and then you end up losing. Of course, it's heartbreaking to have these situations, especially if it's such a prestigious tournament like the US Championship. But it does happen, and yeah, Christopher Yu was very emotional, as we will see now. I just see someone wrote, I think of Niemann as a great talented player. He is fighting hard against the cheater image. Yeah, absolutely true, and that's also what you should do. Yeah, like if people unjustly say that you're a cheater, you should do everything against that. Which, again, going back to the Shevchenko case, was a bit strange to me that he didn't immediately go to the go to the public and tell his side of the story. So that was like pretty strange to me personally, to not see him do that. Anyway, back to the Yu case once again. So let's read this article. Christopher Yu expelled from US Championship due to gross violations of code of conduct. The St. Louis Chess Club has expelled Grandmaster Christopher Yu from the 2024 US Championship, saying in a statement after round 5 that the 17-year-old was guilty of gross violations of the event's code of conduct and the US chess safe play policy. After losing his 5th round to Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana, Yu is alleged to have crumpled his score sheet, stormed out of the tournament hall, and struck a videographer from behind. So, as you can see now, he lost the game, and as soon as he lost, he basically ripped apart his score sheet. I prepared this video here, which shows it pretty well. So let's just jump in here. So Christopher is visibly upset, shaking his head, putting back the pieces, and now look. Okay, let's go back for a second. Okay, so first of all, this is something you shouldn't do. It's just disrespectful. But yeah, being emotional after such a loss, or even sometimes after a draw, being so emotional, is nothing that much out of the ordinary. It probably happened to almost every player, including myself. For me personally, it was probably not that extreme, I would say. But like to storm out of the playing hall visibly upset and to just be super emotional. As a kid, sometimes you're even crying if you lose. It does happen. So this alone would not be enough to be suspended from the whole tournament. So yeah, now the arbiter comes to him, says, yeah, you cannot do this, basically. He gives him a warning, which I think is fair. People were even on Twitter saying that the arbiter, like, he shouldn't touch him and he shouldn't tell him what to do. I mean, that this is normal after a game to be that upset. But okay, it is a US championship, and there are probably other players still next to him, and if he's like ripping apart his score sheet and he's being super loud, it's also annoying to the other players. So I'm fully with the arbiter here, that he's also being polite. I mean, he doesn't look like the arbiter is bashing out on him, and like it looks like the arbiter is being very professional here. That's just my how it looks to me. So he probably gave him a warning. Then it looks like he is somewhat calmed down. Let's see how the video finishes. Yeah, he walks off. And okay, that's basically it, yeah. So this was the starting of the whole case, but this is like not even... That's not nearly all of it. So this is only where all of it starts. Let me just go through the comments and let's see what you guys are saying. Is Fabi going to be held accountable for his moves and resulting consequences? I'm not sure what you mean, because Fabi did not do anything, didn't do anything wrong. Chris Bird, the arbiter, said he punched a female videographer from behind. He tore the score sheet like how I tear the advertisement from my mailbox. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I mean, your mail advertisements you handle like this, yeah, but not your chess score sheets. So yeah, Chris Bird, the arbiter, said he punched a female videographer from behind. This is what we're going to next, since this is kind of like the bigger scandal of this all. I mean, this alone would not make it into the headlines and would not lead to him being expelled from the tournament. But crumpled his score sheet, stormed out of the tournament hall, and struck a videographer from behind. This is where it all starts. And yeah, there has still not been that much information on this. And there have been so many theories on what might have happened, what did happen, but I didn't see any evidence for that yet. I did read that there is supposed to be some video of him doing so, but haven't seen it so far. And of course, if this actually did happen, I mean, not only you should ban from the tournament. In my opinion, you're not fit to be like living in society, basically. If you struck someone from behind for no reason, then yeah, you should probably go to jail. Yeah? Or I mean, there have to be like serious consequences way beyond the scopes of FIDE or the United States Chess Federation. So yeah, struck a videographer from behind, according to the St. Louis Chess Club, who say the police were called and responded. They add, "We take player conduct seriously and do not tolerate violations of our standards. We acted swiftly to address the situation, ensuring a respectful and safe environment for everyone involved in the tournament. The remainder of the tournament will continue uninterrupted with the following regulations put in place, since less than half of the event had been completed." Now everything starts. Since less than half of the tournament have been completed, there are special regulations which have been put in place. Since now Christopher Yu will not be playing in the tournament, and it looks as follows. Yu's result from rounds 1 to 5 will be annulled, and the tournament standings will be adjusted accordingly. Players scheduled to face Yu in the remaining rounds will receive a bye, granting them an additional rest day. So this is, of course, extremely controversial, since all of the players who played Christopher Yu in round 1 to 5 and won their games, which I think was Wesley So and Fabiano Caruana, maybe there was someone else, their point will simply be thrown out of the window. So their game, even though they won it, will not be considered for the standings, which of course is extremely unfair. There's nothing else to say about it, but the other question is, what else can you do? And I personally don't see any other way for it. I mean, I guess what you could also do is that you stick to these results, which happened in round 1 to 5, and for the other games you give them like half a point or something, but it's also unfair because if, for example, Lenia Dominguez plays against him, would have played against him with white or with black, he would be the heavy favorite to win against him. And if he gets half a point, then it would also be somewhat unfair, since arguably he has the better chances to win against him than to make a draw. So there is no fair way of dealing with this. It's just extremely unfortunate that all of this happened in general. Yeah, this is the official statement, which I think I also have here. Yeah, let's go through this. Yeah, this week has been messy, that's true. He cannot go to jail, he's still a minor and lacks maturity. Yeah, I'm not sure how the laws exactly are in the US, but I guess if you're 17, you're still regarded as a minor. I think in Austria you're already, like in the country I live in, I think you can already go to at least juvenile prison. I'm sure the United States also have some sort of juvenile prison, at least from what I know, but please correct me in the comments if if I'm wrong there. But I think everyone agree with me that if you struck someone from behind who didn't do anything to you at all, it doesn't matter if you're 17 or 16 or 15 or 14, there should be serious consequences. I think everyone will agree with me on that. Will this live stream remain saved? I have to go to the track story. Yeah, the live stream will be up on YouTube afterwards, so don't worry about that. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal tearing a piece of paper. Yeah, I agree. It's not great sportsmanship as you like, but there are many also top players that behaved similarly, and it does happen. Yeah, like serious chess players do become extremely emotional after such games. So this alone would not, as I said before, will not nearly be enough to cause such a scandal. But the physical part, of course, is another story. The rating impact also reversed. As far as I know, that the rating is still kept, but Let me just double check. Let's go on 2700 chess. And let's look at Fabi. It's still there, at least, this win against him. So as far as I know, the rating will stay there, like he actually won the game. That was my last information. We would need to see how the alleged punch from behind was to talk about severe consequences outside of the chess world. Maybe it was very light contact, which completely changes the whole picture. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is the biggest thing, which I hope that there will be some evidence or some witnesses. I also don't know the videographer herself. As far as I know, it's a woman. I'm sure when this all is true, she can just as well go forward and confirm these allegations, which I haven't seen so far. So far, I only read Chris Bird's, the chief arbiter's statement that this was the case, which is also the statement by the St. Louis Chess Chess Club, which we'll now read. How do you feel about the Kirill situation? Yeah, I said before, I just really want to see more evidence to come out. Same like in the UK's. Of course, it doesn't look good in both cases for both players, but I would still like to see more evidence to see the light of day. So welcome to everyone who just joined in the chat. Similar case as it was with Bassos. Could you elaborate on that? I'm not sure which case you mean. I assume you mean Basso Pierluigi, but I'm not familiar with that case, I think. You do have to remember that the victim might not want to have the video released. If it was assaulted, I'm not sure it would. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Great that you pointed this out. Didn't really think about this before. Yeah, of course, if you get assaulted, that's a great point. Yeah, you don't really want a video of you being assaulted go out to the public. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But still, some sort of additional evidence, I would say, would be nice to know, because at least I totally believe them, just to have it on the record. I totally believe the St. Louis Chess Club if they say so. I'm sure they're not making this up, but there are some people, especially if you look on Twitter, that just don't believe it. Yeah, and they will say that the St. Louis Chess Club is always bad and is always lying because they just think so. And I really just want those people to have some more proof. I would say, but yeah, thank you, Cameron Davis, for pointing that out. That was great. The 19-year-old international master Pierluigi Basso was suspended from competitive play for 5 months, not for an unlawful act or an attempt, but for shameful behavior in public and private statements. Okay. Yeah, I heard about something like this before. I think that was not an international thing. I think that was only by the Italian Chess Federation, if I'm not wrongfully informed. Is it realistic to see you play again at US Championships like next year? Niemann's behavior was also forgiven. Niemann's behavior was not forgiven, I would say. It was forgiven only in the realms of the United States Chess Championship. But as far as I know, Niemann did not do anything wrong in the United States Championship. Please correct me, but was the whole hotel room demolition case, was it in the United States Championship or was it another tournament? Because I cannot seem to recall that. Because the cheating scandal with Niemann was not with the US Championship, it was in the St. Louis Super Tournament back then. And the US Chess Championship and the St. Louis Chess Club are somewhat of different things as far as I understood it. That's why Niemann is also allowed to participate there, since he's actually banned, even though he's actually banned from the St. Louis Chess Club, since they are two different entities, basically. So these are all the informations I can think of now. I thought that Kramnik was just insane, but his most recent video was actually quite well argued. Yeah, I've also enjoyed his videos about Naroditsky. You can think whatever you want, but his explanations and so on are at least entertaining. Some of them might be a bit not factually correct or a bit imaginary, but it's still extremely interesting to listen to his theories. And he also did talk about Shevchenko already a couple of months ago, and now, of course, many people go back to that tweet from some time ago and say, yeah, Mr. Vladimir, you have been correct all the time. And yeah, but interesting developments also in from Kramnik's side. If you don't follow Kramnik on YouTube and Twitter, definitely do so. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on many interesting things to come. Okay, so let's go through the official statement from the St. Louis Chess Club. At the conclusion of his game on October 16th, Grandmaster Christopher Yu crumpled his score sheet, stormed out of the tournament hall, and struck a videographer from behind. The St. Louis Chess Club immediately provided assistance to the videographer and called the police, who responded. Chief Arbiter Chris Bird expelled Yu from the tournament due to gross violations of our code of conduct and the US Chess safe play policy. The St. Louis Chess Club fully supports his decision and has banned Yu from the club. Yu's result from rounds 1 to 5 will be annulled, and the tournament standings will be adjusted accordingly. Players scheduled to face Yu in the remaining rounds will receive a bye, granting them an additional rest day. That was what I mentioned before already. Somewhat of a tricky situation, bad for Fabi and for, I think it was Wesley So. But I don't think that there's any other way to do it any better. If you guys have any possible ways to improve the system, please let me know, but I cannot think of any possible improvements, at least currently. We take player conduct seriously, as they should. I think it's very important, and do not tolerate violations of our standards. We acted swiftly to address the situation, ensuring a respectful and safe environment for everyone involved in the tournament. Let me just refill my teapot. 1 second. As some of you might have noticed, my voice is a bit broken. I have some small cold, therefore I'm a little bit reliant on my tea next to me, but yeah, I hope you don't mind all of that. I'm just seeing that the chat is talking a lot about the Naroditsky thing, which I will not go into in this video, maybe in another thing. But yeah, definitely make sure to check out Vladimir Kramnik's analysis on that. He went pretty deep into his games and into his possible suspicious behavior. Bishop c8 is interesting. Yeah, definitely check it out. Yeah, how is it even possible to cheat in Bullet and Ultra Bullet? That's a great question. I don't think it is. But in Blitz, it's probably another story. And I think Kramnik at least mostly focused on the Blitz games and results. In some ways, I do pity Yu, since I think it could effectively just fully kill his career. I can't imagine anyone wanting to invite him to any events now. Yet his annulment situation is definitely frustrating for Corona and So, as they both beat Yu. But I really can't think of a better situation. Of a better solution. Totally agree. It's not great. It's really bad for especially So and Fabi. But there is probably just no better way of doing it. That's just a sad reality. And of course, I guess it's natural to feel pity for a young player for things like this. But if all of this is like fully true, that is hitting the videographer from behind, I don't feel any pity at all. I just have to say that, because if you intentionally hit someone from behind and without any reason at all, no self-defense or just nothing at all, just out of pure frustration, I think you just deserve the full punishment. That's just my opinion. Have you watched Daniel's stream answering Kramnik? He was very hurt by the text. To me, the whole thing is just sad to see. I haven't watched it yet. I was also, honestly, I will just put it out now. I had a very hard time believing, and still have a very hard time believing, that Nowitzki is cheating or was cheating. And most of Kramnik's arguments, I think, are, yeah, just pretty far-fetched. Let's put it like this. But there were some things which are somewhat suspicious. But again, just check the Kramnik stuff out. But yeah, I think that Nowitzki is a very, very nice person, at least from what I can see on the internet, and I really enjoy his commentary always. So the whole thing is pretty hard to digest, that's for sure. Ivan Sokolov says punishment on you is hugely excessive. That brings me to another point, since also Jan Nepomniachtchi here replied to this tweet. I don't know all the details, but I think this decision is too harsh. Same like Ivan Sokolov. Emotions, sometimes too strong and painful to handle, are an integral part of the game. It seems to me that the organizers and arbiters could be more lenient and limit themselves to the first and last warning. I guess he's only now talking about the ripping the score sheet apart thing, which that would be true. I mean, I don't think anyone would ban a player for ripping apart a score sheet, but I'm pretty sure all of this is 99% connected, or even 100% connected to the whole physical assault part, which Jan left out for some reason in this thing, which I think kind of misses the point. I haven't seen Sokolov's statement, but that's just my opinion, that the whole ripping the score sheet apart is only a small detail of the whole story. The physical assault thing is, in my opinion, also like the main thing of the whole dilemma. Yeah, even Sokolov does claim a lot of things. That's true. I don't think anyone can actually say that the punishments are excessive without seeing the footage. Yeah, but as I think it was you who said before, that probably the person who has been assaulted doesn't want the footage to be released, which, I mean, if the same would happen to me, I'm also sure that I would probably not want that the public to see. But as I said before, it would be nice to have somewhat more of a, I guess, somewhat more of a proof, or some witness statements, something like this, so that really everyone can fully see through the whole situation. Do you think the repercussions would have been different if the photographer had been a man? Hang on, I just need to check the word repercussions, just to be fully sure. Okay, now I get it. I don't think so. At least I don't hope so. But assault is assault. I know that often in the world, unfortunately, assault of different genders is treated differently, but I think in this case it wouldn't have made so much of a difference. That would be my first thoughts, at least. There's not much upside for Daniel to be cheating in Title Tuesday. Back to Nowitzki, he is considered to be one of the best commentators, and his reputation must be very important to him. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree on that point. So therefore, also because of these reasons, I'm very skeptical on the Kramnik theory, honestly. Yes, I meant more that I don't understand why Nepo and Sokolov are making statements on something that they cannot know about. Yeah, true. Yeah. I totally agree. Couldn't agree more. In general, I'm not a big fan on making like some big statements like Nepo did, for example, or I guess also Sokolov made, without knowing basically anything about the backstory. That's why I also said about the Shevchenko stuff and also this stuff, I don't want to make any statements. I'm just going through the hypothetical scenarios, and inside of the hypothetical scenarios, I'm I'm making the statements there. So what did Nepo say? Let's just read again. I don't know all the details, but I think this decision is too harsh. He was talking about the emotions, about ripping apart the score sheet. But as I said before, I think it kind of misses the point of physical assault. So this was Nepo's response. Okay, let's move on. While the victory for Caruana won't count, so he no longer leads by a point, his title defense is still on track. 3 other players managed to score full points in round 5. Grandmasters Avonda Liang, Levon Aronian, and Ray Robson. A bloodbath in the women's event. Okay, that's another story, which would be also interesting, but that's not our main thing of the stream. So yeah, this was the report by the whole Chess.com article. Now I would like to go through the game just to give you some more background information, what actually happened. It was not this one. It was round 5. Where is it? Was the game actually deleted? That must be a joke, right? It's just gone. I opened it up, the tab, before. And it's gone. It's like, seriously, huh? Is it here still? Guys, do you know if there's any way to find the game? I mean, that's just... is it? Can I see it here? Because I had it on chess.com before. Okay, at least it's here. And somehow they removed the whole name Christopher Yu from chess.com. So that was the game. Let me just see if... Yeah, I think you can see the board. So Fabi was black, and he did take a lot of risks in the opening, because I'm pretty sure he just wanted to win in this game. So he went for this sort of hedgehog structure, which is a bit risky, knight c6, and he took with the d pawn. Christopher played e5, which is a good move, and now bishop f4. And yeah, this was all pretty non-standard for black from Fabi. Let's see what the computer says. Yeah, it says white is better. Let's put it like this. But it's basically a fighting game. And I think this whole exchange sacrifice was a bit incorrect according to the computer, but it was interesting, and it was not easy for black to handle. I will just turn off the engine for now. I guess that something like rook e8 might be another option when it also doesn't look that clear, because the pawn on e5 is hanging. Maybe something like f4, but then the knight could jump into c5, for example, hitting the bishop on d3. Also looks pretty unclear, but Fabi went for this. I think it's also not on Lichess, the US Championship, since it's somewhat affiliated with chess.com, I think, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's also on Lichess. So Fabi went for this, and he sacrificed the exchange for pretty decent compensation. He has one pawn, and he does have the bishop pair, so it's not clear at all. Queen c7, king b1, bishop e7, rook e1. Black cannot take the pawn on h2 yet, because there will be queen d7. So g6, g3, now king b8. And here the computer gives some advantage, like +1 here, which to the human eye, it's not obvious at all. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could see that white is probably the one being better, being an exchange up, but it's just a huge fighting position here. Bishop a6, forcing b3. And here the game starts to take somewhat of a turn. Queen e5 provoking f6, but it's probably not that good, because black will anyway get e5. I guess if white wanted to be safe, he could take on c7 when probably he wouldn't lose the game. Let's see what the computer gives here. I guess it's around equal, but to me it looks like white is pretty safe. Computer doesn't work. Plus 0.27, yeah. But I guess this would be a safer continuation. But still, even there, anything could happen. Black could also win that, as crazy as it sounds. Why is b3 forced? I guess because the pawn on c4 is hanging. Maybe he could also defend it with something like queen e4. But anyway, b3 is somewhat logical. It does weaken the dark squares, but I guess queen e4 would be the other way to defend it. Or actually, the pawn on c4 is not hanging yet because there's queen d4, right? It's like, let's say white goes king e1. I don't think he can take because there's queen d4 with the double attack. So good question, yeah. I guess b3 is not forced. I was wrong there before, as it seems. But I guess he just wanted to protect the pawn in the long run. That must have been his idea. So yeah, let's move on a couple of moves. He went back with the queen. I think here the game started to shift in the wrong direction already because he got e5. And now I think he cannot take that comfortably because there is something happening along these diagonals. Is it... Maybe you can go bishop f5 check. I don't know where the king goes. If king b2, there's always rook h2 also. If king c1, there's bishop g5. So maybe king a1. But then maybe I take and I go here. It does look very scary for white. I mean, these bishops are just really strong. Maybe something like b5 could be considered as well. Looks pretty scary already. So he didn't take, he went rook h1, bishop c5, queen g5, take. I think here already the position is like better for black and nothing that special happened. So I think it was just like a normal game. White was better, but he played against Caruana, who is not a bad player. And at some point the game just shifted in the wrong direction. And I think here was already lost. Bishop d4 came, pinning the knight. And yeah, the rest was pretty easy for Fabi. He brought the king to a6. And now he's just threatening bishop f5 followed by queen d2. I don't think that there's any defense. Or queen d2 right away is also a threat. When after rook c2 there's bishop takes c3. And yeah, here he resigned shortly. Bishop g4 he resigned. Which here it's quite obvious that black is winning because probably black is just getting mated. If the king moves, I guess there's just queen a1. And knight has to go here and queen takes d1. So like the Shevchenko games, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. It's white was better. It's a bit unfortunate, but I don't really see the huge point of frustration, I would say. So that was a bit surprising for me to see. Have you ever played Fabi? No, I haven't. I think not only in, not even in online games, as far as I know. So I think that was basically everything. I think there was only this more article. Was there anything I missed? Results. No, I think that was basically it. Yeah, I mean, I think I said most of the things I wanted to say. Since there are so many of you watching now, I might as well check out the remaining games which are currently played now in the US Championship. Let's just have a look together. What's happening there? Since it's such an interesting event anyway. Chess publishers should consider a chess drama related book with games and backstories. Would be a hit, I imagine. Yeah, content is plenty, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, isn't there some Netflix series coming as well on the Hans Niemann Magnus stuff? That's what I heard, at least. That they're producing some sort of Netflix series. MVL on 68 classical chess games without a loss. That's impressive. Yeah, I'm happy to see MVL is coming back because he dropped a lot with his rating. He was on 2720 or something ridiculous. I mean, he used to be 2800 and is still very strong. And I think it was just a bit unfair to see him on such a lower rating. So we see now Linnea Dominguez against Abhimanyu Mishra. Mishra playing, I think, exclusively either the French or the Najdorf, where he's very, very well prepared. And Linnea Dominguez, exclusive e4 player. And against the Najdorf, he mostly goes for either the English defense, with starting with f3 or with bishop e3 right away. And after e5, he went knight f3, which usually is not playing that often. But I guess he wanted to avoid heavy preparation by his opponent after knight b3. So this line is pretty standard. White always has access to the d5 square, which is weak, but black has an extra central pawn, and yeah, this is pretty standard theory here. Bishop e6. I think another idea for black is often to go knight a5, but usually it makes more sense after white goes bishop e3 than to go knight a5 to take the bishop pair. Bishop g5, often trying to exchange the bishop for the knight to have better control of the d5 square. So bishop e6, queen e2, now knight e7, and I actually checked this line some time ago, I think, and it was always like white kept some small advantage, but usually it's not that big of a problem for black. Have you played Shevchenko? Yeah, I already mentioned before, I played Kirill, I think 2 times in classical games, since we are also the also the same age. We played, I think, in 2017 in some open tournament, and in 2018 in the European Individual Championship. So back to Dominguez's game, and it looks pretty balanced to me. I guess black wants to have d5 at some moment, but he's trying to prepare it because d5 right away looks a bit early, since he anyway cannot take on e4 because of the pin, and white might be able to increase the pressure on e4 on d5, maybe with queen f3 or something like that. Could be an idea. Maybe. When this pin does look a bit annoying. Yeah, it looks pretty pleasant for white. White is not risking anything much here. He did play b3 now, and he will probably want to go c4 to avoid Mishra from playing d5 for good. Yeah, I'm playing in the European Individual this year as well in Montenegro in a couple of weeks. I'm also gonna do recaps there. That's what I'm planning. That's gonna be very interesting. Super strong event. By the way, I heard rumors that Alireza Firuza is gonna play in the European Individuals this year. I asked why, and it seems like he wants to collect the FIDE circuit points. So to see him playing in that event would be very cool. Would be very cool. So I guess the position is around equal. Maybe white is a little better. Let's see what the computer says. Yeah, that's basically what I imagined. But I'm a bit surprised that black the engine allows c4. Okay, he has b5 when he probably has some counterplay. And before that, let's just see why d5 wasn't possible. What am I missing? Just queen e4 is there. When if he moves the knight, white can take the pawn on b7. No, I won't play in the Club Cup. I also have lots of stuff to do now. I'm currently moving apartments, and I have some work. I'm working as a second currently, quite a lot. Also in the Club Cup for a very famous person, which I'm not at liberty to say who it is. But that's also a lot of fun for me. I really enjoy doing opening analysis and seconding work. Yeah, yeah, you're mentioning it. Yeah, now that you're mentioning it, David Alex, the deadline for European is gone. Yeah, but probably you can't really decline a player like Firuza. What about the World Rapid and Blitz? I'm also playing there. Okay, let's see what other games there are. Fabi is much better against Grigory Oparin, who is also his second. At least he was for the what was it? For the candidates, I think. And we see an Italian, pretty slow. Now black starts with h6 often, having two ideas. Sometimes black develops the bishop to e7, and sometimes then he goes to c5. And yeah, this line we see pretty often being played nowadays. Often white uses this move for the bishop c5 and then knight c3. When white often has this like coffee house plan with bishop e3, which a couple of years ago people would have laughed at you for playing like this, but now it actually turns out it's not that easy for black to handle these positions. Also, white has the idea with knight a4, for example, after d6, knight a4 is the move, when white will get the bishop here and can hope to play for a small long-term advantage. Yeah, now that a6 is played, now knight a4 doesn't make any more sense since black can just retreat to a7. So therefore bishop e3 now. And this structure is always a bit worse for black in general, since he has the double pawns, but he has a nice square on d4, looks around equal. Knight d5 takes, and he took with the pawn, which, yeah, makes sense since after bishop takes d5, I would guess now knight e7, and if the bishop retreats, black can already think about pinning us here. That doesn't look so great since probably you don't want to go for this because the f4 square is very weak. So e5 was played, knight e7. Knight e4 is probably not possible because of knight takes e5. And now queen e5, there's rook e1. And probably white is winning. So knight e7, now knight e5 doesn't work because of the queen e5, rook e1. Black can move the queen and there is no pin here. So Fabi played queen e1, knight d2, looks around equal. But I don't know if... Knight d2 is a nice move. I would have only thought about something like b4 here. b4 looks very logical to me, but knight d2 is nice because now knight e4 puts the queen in a pretty tough spot. This looks like that to me. So we went bishop f5. I'm not sure if there was anything better because I wouldn't like to give the bishop here. But bishop f5 is the best, yeah. Actually, taking on d5 was probably not the best. Bishop g4 right away. And if h3, can I go back? Computer wants to go bishop f3. This looks strange to give the bishop. I think no human would play like this to give the bishop against the knight because now white has this powerful light square bishop. Yeah, nice opening strategy by Fabi with this plan with Ed. Looks like he was still in his preparation, but I'm not sure. Would you say you have better opening preparation than most of your opponents? Depends on who I'm playing. If I'm playing in some extremely strong open, where I'm playing against 2600s, then probably not always, but I think in general I'm pretty well prepared. I would go that far. So yeah, this does look a bit worse for black. If the knight were on d6, it would probably be a bit different, since the knight would really like to blockade that pawn. But also white has these nice light squares here. Also, if you could imagine the bishop being on e6, the game is probably over. But yeah, that's not the case yet. So castle b4 was played. b6, take, queen b4. And now we have this endgame, where black is probably pretty solid now. But it does look black is under some pressure. I would think here about some plan like this. Bishop e2. Yeah, computer now also thinks this is the best with the idea of bishop g4. Maybe something like this. Yeah, it's unpleasant. I can protect the pawn on c2. Still threatening to take here at some point and then to pick up the pawn on b6. Favorite Sicilian line for black, it's probably the Najdorf. I'm pretty classical. I've also played the Najdorf myself with black for basically my whole life. Okay, that's interesting. Fabi has a good position, but could as well become a draw. And Levon sticks to the French. That's pretty cool to see. because Levon already played, I think, against Lenier Dominguez. He played the French. It was also the advance, if I'm not wrong. And against Hans, he stick to it with the line with the a6 b5, which is also one of my favorites. Other lines for black are to take cd4, knight d4, bishop c5. This is one of them. And I would say the most classical line is bishop e7. So, oh, Anish Kiri is in the chat. That's an honor. Nice to see you here. Is it the real Anish Kiri? That's the question. Is it the real one? I'm not sure if it's the real one. If it's the real Anish Kiri, I really made it in life. If the real Anish Kiri is in the chat, I'm a happy man. That would be great. So yeah, anyway, a6 was played. As I was saying, bishop e7 being one of the other things. a6, queen e2, b5, and Hans played h4. Bishop e7, I think they were all prepared. Did they spend a lot of time here? Hans didn't spend any time at all. Queen f2, cd4. Hans spent 5 minutes for queen f2. I mean, this is, yeah, this move h4, I somewhat recall. This was like one of the recent developments now. The other main lines, white has some ideas here. Bishop d3 is one move, bishop e2 is one move. There was also this idea with knight d1, which is often pretty dangerous, to bring the knight to f2. This was one thing, and then later on to knight d1 is actually a nice instructive idea. Knight d1 and then c3 to support the center. And yeah, what else was there? I think bishop d3 was a line. And now they started to play h4, which hasn't been seen in that many games yet. But it's an interesting line. White just wants to push h5, and then often even g4, g5, as far as I recall. Bishop e7, I think I had something like queen a5 also in my notes, which is a bit of a strange move. But the idea is often that white doesn't have knight e2 anymore. And I mean, he does not have knight e2, but black is usually happy to exchange queens here. So this is one of the ideas with queen a5. But bishop e7 was played, queen f2, c takes d4 now. Again, queen a5 for some reason is a good idea, according to the computer. But they played so fast, yeah. Anish was, I'm sorry, Levon was fully prepared, it seems. Bishop c5. Knight e2. It looks like Levon was fully prepared. Wow. Even against h4, that's pretty impressive. Impressive preparation. Okay, take, bishop d4. And it seems like everything just exchanged. He went rook e1 first. Okay. I'm wondering a bit after knight e6, rook e8, knight d4. Is it such an easy draw? Not so sure. Because whenever black takes, white has this fantastic knight on d4, and if there's if rook e3, I guess white can just go rook d1 and then king f2. Computer says bishop c8 here. So maybe bishop c8, but I don't fully understand it. Funny, yeah. Now bishop c8. I'm again thinking about the Nerotitsky stuff, yeah, where there was this bishop c8 moment. Also here, bishop c8 seems a bit. I don't fully get it. Just want to get bishop g4 at some point? Probably. Looks like it. Okay, anyway, Hans went for rook e1, knight c4, takes, rook e6, now c3. Why did they play so fast? Like Levon was basically blitzing the whole game, as it seems. Is c3 that obvious? I mean, otherwise white will play c3 himself, and he's probably better. But it's not so easy. Levin was playing so fast. I mean, and here they made a draw. Very interesting game. Especially considering Levin's time management. But okay, let's look at the next game. Sam Shankland. Another French. Oh, and this line. I will actually tell you something now, because as some of you might know, I was a second of Pantala Hari Krishna for quite some time, and he made a course on this for white, which I was also a big fan of, since I think it was a pretty good course overall. And there was this one big mainline where I think I found a pretty fantastic novelty, which has still not been played that often. Hari played it once against Magnus Carlsen after he showed him. But after bishop e7, which is like the main line, it was a3, short castle, knight f4, and now queen a5, which has always seemed like the killer of the line, because black often wants to take knight takes d4 or even c takes d4, mostly knight takes d4. But here I introduced this move b4, which the engine still doesn't fully get, but I think it's a really cool idea. The move before that, I think it was bishop e3, and there was some move repetition. I think it was knight takes d4, because if cd4, there's b4. There was knight takes d4, knight takes d4, cd4, bishop d4, and now there was a draw somewhere. Queen c7, bishop d3 here, and it ended like this. Black goes here, and we have a move repetition. And a draw. But with this move b4, which looks absolutely insane, you break the pin, and if c takes b4, now obviously you cannot take back, because black will just take, and you cannot take back because the rook on e1 is hanging. But the whole point of b4 was that after c b4, you go bishop d3, and if bc3, simply short castle, or queen c2, I'm not sure what was I think it was short castle here. And white is 2 pawns down, but has very good attacking chances. Knight h5 is coming, sometimes h4, knight g5 is coming, so this is a very cool idea, which I hope that some more people in the future will find it as well. So that was cool. But cd4 was played in the game, and they went for this knight f4 idea. This is often an idea after f6, because now if f takes e5, there's knight takes e6. Or even this was sometimes possible, but it's extremely complicated. I remember some lines that went until move 30. I think it was even this engine line here. Sick stuff, very sick stuff. So bishop e4 was played, bishop d2, queen e7, and here he took on f6. I think I checked this, and it was some endgame was arising here, or was it after queen a5? I remember some endgame came like this, which I thought about playing with black, but then I thought, yeah, some g5 ideas were there. But I felt like white is a bit better here. So this line is pretty annoying for French players, I think. This knight e2, knight f3. Not a bad line. But anyway, what happened? Queen s7. And he went for e5 right away to exchange his weakness. But now he's left with another weakness, which is the pawn on d5. Oh, knight takes e2, also a nice recapture. Because of bishop e2, the knight actually wants to come to d4. Bishop e2 looks way more logical, since you're also developing at the same time, but knight takes e2 is a very instructive moment, because the knight will come to d4, and then the bishop will go to d3. That's pretty cool. And now, yeah, black is very solid. Probably the game will end in a draw, but white is a bit better here, because of the nice blockade. Pawn on d5 can also be attacked maybe later on, even though pawn is pretty safe. But I guess white has a plan, just, I guess king d2 looks logical. Or f3 first. F3 first is maybe good to avoid knight g4. And then king d2, g4, g5, something like this, or g4, h4, h5 to just expand on the king side. All right, so Let's see what else we got. And we have an English, Wesley against Sevian. Looks pretty standard. This rookie 1 looks a bit strange, but in some lines there's knight d4, and then the pawn on e2 is supported. I think this is one of the ideas. Take, queen a4. Yeah, looks pretty equal. But white probably has the little bit better side since he has one extra central pawn, which is especially useful in endgames, but black is super solid overall. And he goes for this move g4, which is very typical in these positions, just to avoid black from playing f5 himself. Yeah, and maybe Wesley got something out since after b5 was pushed. Better stream than St. Louis. Happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Since now b5 was pushed, opponent c6 is a bit weak. I don't know if b5 was that necessary. Maybe rook a at first, but here it already looks like white has achieved something. Where did things go wrong? Maybe Wesley is just genius. Position looked so solid here. Queen f8. Is that a nice idea, maybe? I've never seen this idea to push f5. That's really cool. And if g4 now, what's the point? Now you don't play g6. Rook d8. What is even the idea? You want rook d5 or rook a4? He says, why not rook d5? b4. Strange. Very strange. I mean, I like this queen f8 plan, but it's probably also not that easy to play. And it's not obvious what's the upside now of the g4. Still looks like white is somehow pressing here, even though the computer screams zeros. Yeah, nice play by Wesley. I like it. I mean, even this position here is maybe still. What is the current position? Maybe it's still somewhat okay for black, but it's starting to look a bit ugly. Like, what does he do even after rook c1? Queen d7. No, that's the point. And rook c6, let me guess, it doesn't work because of f5. Yeah, that's the point. When white is losing the rook on c6. Yeah, queen d7 is probably important. Now it's not so clear. But even I would consider what happens after g5. I mean, f5 is such an ugly move. Maybe he gets some counterplay with rook f4, but not easy to make as well. Computer says h3, but okay, we'll play like this. f5, just queen e3. Okay, it will be interesting to happen. Will be interesting to see what happens here. Are there any other updates? Mr. Dominguez looks like he's a bit better here. Fabi is pushing still. Yeah, I think Sam's game will end in a draw. Pretty sure about that. Let's check out the women's sections as well. Let's see what's up on. Hikaru's wife is playing as well. What an irony, huh? Hikaru's wife is playing the Neiman London. I mean, you could argue that it's the Jababa London, but Neiman made this notorious course on it. Okay, looks pretty standard. Bishop b4. Knight b4 would be maybe better than knight c6, but here it looks like white has achieved something. In general, I don't really like this line with knight a6 for black, because the knight is always extremely misplaced on a6. I would rather play something like c5 or a6 with black, personally. So now white is better. Yeah, opposite color bishops usually favor the attacking party, which here should be white. And they might go for the repetition. How many times? Okay, black is thinking. Okay. Hikaru is scared to lose rating, so he's not playing in the championship. Maybe that's also a reason. I guess the other reason is just being that he that he's very satisfied with his earnings from streaming, and he doesn't wanna, you know, he doesn't wanna stop it. That would be my guess. So this line, yeah, very old-fashioned stuff. Short castle. Now people are mostly taking here and going queen e7, not to allow knight e5, and here black is mostly equalizing pretty rapidly. If he pushes d5, it's pretty okay for black. But this was played, knight e5, and rook e8 is the standard move, protecting the pawn on e5 as well, and being ready to drop back the bishop to f8. Bishop d3, I don't know that well, personally. Queen f5 is the main move, which again looks a bit funny. But the point is that black cannot really take on d5 that well, because then the pawn on e5 is hanging. And otherwise, white will just take on f6, for example. d6, I think, is the main move. And then either queen takes f6 or g takes f6. G takes f6 being, again, the main move, I think. When black has quite a big lead in development, but he does have the pretty weak king side here. Bishop d3 was played. Knight g5 is, by the way, also one interesting idea, which I've played myself, forcing g6, and then white has some ideas with h4 sometimes. Often there's this idea here with white, to go knight e4 and then g4 here. This is one of the ideas. Sometimes. Yeah, bishop d3, now h6, g6 I guess is also possible. h4, also one idea, yeah, with knight g5 to come. That would be interesting. But knight e7 is... Okay, the pawn went missing. Here, Dory looks a bit more pleasant for white, even though the computer somehow holds it together. But white's moves are very easy. Bishop e2 is coming, b5 at some point, and sooner or later white can prepare d4. Probably with short castle. Long castle looks a bit too adventurous, but it might also be one idea. So yeah, 3 pawns down, and here it looks like the game should end soon. Irina Krush, of course, being one of the super experienced players in the field, I'm sure she will get the full point. Let's look at Jennifer Yu. Looks like a pretty good version of this sort of Slav for white. Usually white doesn't get this stuff, because in most cases you get a line like this, when black always has this idea to go in these sorts of complications where black is usually fine. If you allow this 92 stuff, b6 I think is not the right way. You should go castle here, and if e4, then there is this line with e5, which I just had a game in as well with white, when I don't think there's any advantage here for white. Black has to be a bit careful, but this line looks okay. b6, now e4, yeah, and now it looks a bit worse for black. b3, okay. Now queen e7 is not the best. cd4, because it still looks a bit dangerous. Rook d4, and short castle probably never works, because white will always have some ideas. Even this works, yeah, but it does look very dangerous with these 2 bishops here. But I guess bishop c5 will be right, and yeah, rook h4 now seems very logical, because black can castle long, and then there will be all of these g5 ideas. So queen e7 and oh, b4 is nice. What happens after cb? Is it c5? I think it's c5. cb, c5, bishop c5, queen b5, king f8, bishop f6, gf6, rook d7. Looks lost. Let's see. c5, bishop c5. Oh, I had the wrong move order. Why? Ah, bishop a6. Okay, that's cool. So I should take here first. Gf, and bishop a4, of course. King f8, rook d7. And here everything is just collapsing. I can take here with check as well. Okay, short castle, b5, and now black is just in huge strategical problems and huge strategical trouble. Because a5 is coming after a6. Even now, I think a5 should be good, yeah. And whenever black takes, these pawns will just decide the game. Okay. Carissa Yip already winning. Oh, this double line. That's exciting. This went wrong pretty quickly. I think that white mixed up. I think so, yeah. Because b5 first should be the move. Now knight d7 is not possible. There was now knight b4 or knight a5. I think knight b4 was the most interesting continuation. And then all of this stuff here. Extremely unclear stuff. But she took on g7 first, and after rook g8, now b5, there is knight e7. Or even d3 first would be even better. And it looks like it's already lost. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, this whole stuff turned into like a US chess championship commentary. Okay, Nazipe Kidze against Anna Zatonsky. Fully symmetrical position. Not yet, actually. After castle 97, it would be fully symmetrical. She gave up the bishop, which I don't like that much. But she did have this concrete idea with queen g4, which makes a lot of sense because there are some ideas with d5 opening up the diagonal. So it does look interesting. Queen e7 logical, knight c4, f5. But yeah, now the queen has to retreat, and white always has some issues with the light squares. Yeah. And again, probably the light squares will be the issue. Yeah. Very nice line by the engine. tc4, bc4, b5. Very instructive. And white cannot take because of queen a2, and otherwise everything will just open up here. c5 maybe the best try, but still. Queen will come in. Even the bishop could come in here. Bishop d5, maybe bishop c4. Yeah, this looks pretty bad. Okay. Another Niemann London or Jababa London, however you would call it. Very unstandard position here. All of a sudden some sort of Caro-Kann stuff here. Where white has a lot more space, but yeah, pretty unclear. And now it seems like black is in trouble after queen e3. Because probably the queen is getting trapped after a6, for example. I think rook d1 now. Yeah, then rook c3 is coming. Okay. All right, guys. I think that was it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I think we did mention as many things as possible about the whole scandal now. I hope I could give you some more insights about it. I just want to wait a bit more about all the details which are probably still about to come out. And yeah, only then like reach a final conclusion on what are the actual facts and what is just like fabricated nonsense by certain individuals and by the public in general. So let's just wait what plays out. I'll definitely give you an update once there are any other news. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in the upcoming videos. So see you.